You should be watching this the day after Thanksgiving, which means it's officially Christmas. If you think Christmas has to wait until December, I'm part of a family that we clean up Thanksgiving dinner and then immediately start decorating for Christmas. So I think that's how it should be. So I'm all decked out today. I'm ready to celebrate. The beverage of choice tonight is a hot cocoa in literally the cutest mug in the entire world. So, cheers. The song of the day is The Hanging Tree from the Hunger Games, but specifically the version from the audiobooks. It's been stuck in my head all day and it's just making me laugh so much. Like,
are you coming to the tree? Wear a necklace of rope side by side with me.
why did they do that, you know? I think about it all the time. And I've been thinking about it even more recently since the new movie just came out with the prequel. I haven't seen it yet because I'm currently in the process of binging the original movies. But if you have seen it, I would love to know your thoughts. And with the Christmas season around the corner, I would say I'm feeling jubilant, which is a word that I don't think I've ever said before, but that's what I'm feeling. So we've got a very festive video today, so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm so excited to announce that for the first time ever, I am participating in the reindeer readathon. If you don't know what the reindeer readathon is, I'll link the video below where the creator, Eric from Break Even Books, talks about it. But basically, it's a readathon that is a reading challenge. When you sign up, you're put into a group with other readers, and the goal is to get as many points as possible for your team by reading books. Each book that you read gives you a different amount of points, and you choose your books based off specific prompts. And I am part of Team Stocking. So with that, let's talk about what I will be reading throughout the month of December. The first prompt is Dasher. For Dasher, you have to pick a book that contains one of the 5 words you find in the provided word search. You take the first 5 words that you see in the word search, and you can choose any of them to be in the title. So the first 5 words that I saw were secret, gold, blood, holly, or sushi. And I immediately knew that I wanted to read A Dowry of Blood. I'm not entirely sure what this book is about. I've heard lots of people talking about it, and it has to do with Dracula. I think it's about Dracula's first bride, but I don't really know what the plot entails. But I do know that I'm a vampire girly. I love a vampire book, so I'm sure I'm gonna eat it up. The next prompt is Dancer, which is to pick a book that has at least 5 words in the title. For this prompt, I chose This Is How You Lose the Time More. I've been wanting to read this one for a while. Again, I don't really know what it's about, but I'm pretty sure it's like a dual perspective romance story about time travel, but I don't actually know that. Another fun aspect of the challenge is that there are bonuses you can do. They're not additional challenges, but they're bonus prompts to tack on to one of the existing prompts. So one of those is to listen to an audiobook. So I believe This Is How You Win the Time War will be my audiobook choice. Next up, we have Prancer, which is to read a book in a place that you have never been before. And for that, I chose Happy Place by Emily Henry. This book takes place in a cabin in Maine, and I don't think I've ever been to the entire state of Maine, so I thought that was a fair choice. Another one of the bonus prompts is to read an ebook, and I am planning on reading Happy Place as an ebook. I already have it checked out from the library, so that will probably be one of the first ones I read. I've read Book Lovers and Beach Read before. I listened to both of those as an audiobook, and I think it kind of negatively affected my reading experience. There's just something about listening to a romance audiobook that when they deliver certain lines that are meant to be like cute or like flirtatious, the cringe just hits you extra hard, where like it probably wouldn't hit you as hard if you didn't have to hear someone say it. So I'm excited to read this one not as an audiobook and to see if that affects my experience positively, because I think I rated both of her other books that I've read 3 stars. I didn't dislike them, but they didn't really stick out to me. For the Vixen prompt, we're supposed to read a book that we've been putting off for a long time. So I feel like I have the perfect pick with the Sisters Grimm. This is the first book in this series. If you didn't watch my fall TBR video, I mentioned I wanted to read the series, and I still haven't gotten around to it. So that's one way that I've been putting it off, but this might be one of the longest series I've put off because I started reading it in elementary school and I was never able to finish it because it was always checked out at my library. So this is about 13 years in the making. So I'm really excited to revisit the series and finally finish it. Next up we have Comet, which is to read a book that starts with the same first letter as your zodiac sign. If you don't know, I am a Capricorn. My birthday is January 10th, which means I needed to find a book that starts with the letter C. So I think I will pick up The Collected Regrets of Clover. This is a book that I picked out in my Book of the Month box forever ago, before I canceled it. This is about a woman who has a lot of experience with death and grieving. I think she's accepted death from a very young age, but she has to kind of transition into learning how to live, not just living to die, dying to live, if you will. So it sounds like it'll be maybe a heavy book, but maybe a very hopeful and joyful book, which might be nice to read over the holiday season. However, there is a chance that I will read A Court of Wings and Ruin. One of the rules of the challenge is that all the books you read, you have to start it in December. So I'm currently 100 pages-ish into A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm hoping to finish that up over Thanksgiving break. And if I'm really feeling the series, then maybe I'll just jump right into this one. And that would be nice because one of the bonus prompts is to read a book that's 500 plus pages. This would definitely count for that, but I might not be in the mood and I might not finish A Court of Mist and Fury in time. The Cupid prompt is to read a book that has multiple points of view. For that, I chose Crooked Kingdom. This is another one I've been putting off for a minute, but I read Six of Crows about a year ago and I really enjoyed it. So I am excited to read this one since I've heard it's better than Six of Crows. And this is one of the only books, or Six of Crows, it was one of the only books where I really enjoyed the point of view switch. Usually that's not something that I like, but I think Leigh Bardugo does it really well. And I feel like this would be a really good winter read. This one would also count for the 500 plus pages. I think this is about 530 pages, so really good contender here. Next up we have Donner, which is to read a book with multiple animals on the cover. So I chose The Midnight Library. I really looked through all my books to see which had animals, and there appears to be a cat here and a whale here. So we got two. I think that's the only two, but we do have two. My friend Libby in my book club was speaking very highly of this book, so I picked it up at a bookstore, and I believe it's about time travel or maybe a multiverse situation, because we read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which is also a multiverse kind of time travel book, and she had just finished this one when we read it. She preferred the way The Midnight Library handles that subject. I'm really excited for this one. Okay, the next prompt is a fun one. It's Blitzen, which is to roll a dice or like a random number generator 1 through 6, and whatever you get, you multiply that number by 100, and that's how many pages your book has to be. Let's go ahead and roll it. Okay, so I got 2, which isn't too bad, okay? I just have to read a book that has at least 200 pages. I think I'm gonna do Book of Night by Holly Black. This is Holly Black's first adult fantasy novel. It feels weird calling it adult, but by that I mean not YA. I don't mean anything erotic. This one has been on my shelf for literally since it came out, and it's actually a signed edition, so I'm really excited about that. And I think I'm gonna include this one for the bonus prompt, which is to pick a book you wouldn't typically go for. Hopefully this isn't too much of a stretch because I am a really big Holly Black fan, so I would go for a Holly Black book, but I'm not a big fantasy reader, and I don't think I've ever read an adult fantasy novel. I think I've only ever read YA fantasy, so I feel like that's pretty fair. And this one is a little bit over 200 pages, so that's perfect. However, this one is really subject to change because I am the host of a book club, which means I get to pick all the themes for the books we read each month. And for December, the theme is going to be fantasy. But what we typically do is I will suggest 3 books and then I have the members vote on which one they want to read. And I'm going to throw this one into the mix. So if it gets chosen, I will be reading this one. If not, it will be another fantasy book that is hopefully over 200 pages. And again, a book I wouldn't typically go for, so it should still count. But I hope they choose this one. And the last prompt for the 2023 Reindeer Readathon is to either read a book that came out before you were born or to read a book that came out in 2023. I decided to go for a book that came out before I was born, which is Little Women, another stunning leather-bound edition that I have. Still haven't read this one, but this is nothing if not the perfect book to read around Christmas time. And I'm potentially doing a buddy read with Carolyn. We briefly discussed doing a buddy read of Little Women, but I need to follow up with her. So Carolyn, if you're watching this, we better be reading this because I'm gonna need help. All right, so that's what I will be reading for the 2023 Reindeer Readathon. I would absolutely love to know if you are participating this year, and if so, what you're gonna read. Maybe tell me the book or the prompt that you're most excited about in the comments. If this is the first that you're hearing of the Reindeer Readathon, I believe there's still time to sign up, so I'll definitely put the link in the description. I'm pretty sure the cutoff is November 30th, so hopefully you watch this in time so that you can participate if you're interested. I hope you all had a very lovely Thanksgiving, unless you're not from America, in which case, I hope you had a very lovely Thursday. And I hope the start of your holiday season is going well and that you have a very, very Merry Christmas. Once again, cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.